Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Everybody's muted out. I know I hear a million people say great at one time, but it's okay. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us this afternoon. I'm Lee Frazier, your Director for Region 3, and I'm here today with Director Tory Frink from North Carolina. And Tory, you want to say something to everyone? Say hello.
Hello and Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to everyone. And so we're not going to delay the moment. We're going to let Dr. J join in and go over the CMC process with us. And we'll also go over some of the questions some of you submitted prior to us putting this meeting together. So, Dr. J, I'll throw it to you.
All right. Now, can everyone see my screen? Hope that's a yes.
Yes.
And yes. Perfect. So welcome Region 3. I am Dr. J. I've come up with a little PowerPoint for y'all because I know some of us are visual learners, myself included. So I just want to I don't often get to talk to many of you, especially being in California and in this beautiful little city called Rancho Cucamonga. So I just wanted to kind of break the ice myself, kind of introduce who I am, and we'll start from there. And of course, answer all of your questions about CMC. So about me, I'm Dr. Jay Aldrich. I'm the Associate Director of Professional Development at IMC, and I've been here for a little over 2 years. These are my street creds. So I have my doctoral degree in higher education leadership, my master's degree in organizational leadership, a BA in sociology and anthropology with a minor in religious studies, and I'm also a certified hypnotherapist. Has nothing to do with IMC, but just for funsies. So before IMC, I was the Associate Director of Transfer Student Admission at a small liberal arts college called Whittier College, a Quaker school. And so there I was responsible for reviewing all of our transfer students, their applications, both national and international. And I was also the articulation officer, which meant that I was responsible for creating course guidelines internationally and nationally for all of our partner schools and colleges. And then, of course, as I'm sure most of you, we had to be on committees, so a lot of Title IX, different committees, campus safety, etc. So while here at IMC, I have quite a few roles, and I will say that I think this is where I do share similarities with many of our clerks because I know you all wear many, many hats on a daily basis. So I do review and certify all CMC and MMC applicants. I coordinate, design, and I'm responsible for all education at our annual conference, including budget, finding the speakers, etc. I review all things Athenian, so the dialogues, facilitators, book reviews, manage all the scholarship, and then help support Dr. Rodriguez on anything else that she needs help with. So all duties are assigned. So I think that's in some way, shape, or form how me and clerks align. We wear many, many hats over here. So I want to get to one of the biggest questions that I see often, and that is, why do we not do status updates anymore? So I'll start with this, because I love context. I will say that I have ADHD. It's been diagnosed. It's my superpower, but it also means that I need a lot of context, and I usually overshare just a little. So there are 19,522 municipalities across the U.S. IMC has 15,000, just about 15,000 members. So if we think about California, there's 482 municipalities. And then I use Georgia as an example. So in Region 3, there's 535 municipalities, right? So about 350 members just in the Municipal Clerk Association in Georgia. Let's just say that 10% of the 1,500 wanted a status update. That would mean that one person, that would be me, would have to provide a status update for 1,500 people, right? So that would halt our certification process 100%. Let's just say playing, the other side, let's say it's only 3% of that 15,000. That would still be 450 members that I myself would have to provide a status update for, because our department is a strong and mighty of 3. So there's 3 of us in our department. So what I found with the old process was that we had members who were ready to be certified, but because we had a funnel of hundreds of people waiting for status updates, some of them are waiting a year plus even though they had everything submitted, they had all of their documentation to get certified. So with our new process, we've increased certification an average of 300%. So right now, 96% of our applicants, that's 289 out of the 300 that submitted through our new process, completed it accurately. They've been certified. There's no longer a bottleneck or long wait time to become certified. And then once your application is received, the average wait time now is 1 to 2 weeks, opposed to the 5 to 6 week waiting period. And so I know it's scary, and change is scary when we think about, okay, this new way to submit our work and whatnot. So I do want to provide a resource, because I think that's important. Here at the bottom, I've included this down here. And I can share this with you. I can share it with Tori and Lee if you like, but this is on our website. So this is your step-by-step guide to applying. It even has an application for admission form. So even if you haven't even applied yet and you need to do that, we have that there. We have our education guidelines in case you need a refresher on that. But also, most importantly, there's this part here. This is the link where you would go to upload all of your documents. So when we say we're not doing status updates anymore, it is a hard line. We're not doing status updates anymore. We will always be available to help answer questions. But the thing is, just to be quite frank, sometimes some of these status updates are like, I submitted 27 points last month, and then they completed a course that has 1 point. They're like, can you tell me how many points I have? Right? And we know that everyone's capable of keeping records and documenting all of that. So really there is kind of creating an apprehension. I think sometimes our clerks are a little bit apprehensive, not knowing if something was going to get rejected or if it wasn't going to meet criteria. And this is where I really want to, after this part, open up Q&A to alleviate some of that anxiety, as I am the person that reviews, you know, all of the submissions that come in. I want to help you and also help you help me, and vice versa, because most importantly, I'm your partner in this and I'm your advocate. So I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm not here to police anything. I want to make sure that I'm helping you get to your goals the quickest and most efficient way possible. So if we look here, this will take us to open on up. I'm gonna open on the other side. I'll pull it over. So fun fact is, it's called a resource tool online. It's the same exact thing as the CMC designation. So if you use a resource tool, you can absolutely use that when you submit your designation. And we have this laid out so that it will keep track of all of your points. Now this application, I will say that this application gives me a headache. It's painful when I look at it. And I found out recently that someone who got their CMC about 25 years ago used this same application. So that just tells me that it's time to do some updates and adjustments to this, but I have to do one thing at a time. I gotta slow my roll sometimes just a little bit. But here I understand that, and when we open up the Q&A, I want to talk about this piece in particular so I can understand what your pain points are, because as I do go forward and I want to help change this so it's a little more user-friendly, I need to know what you all need, right? I know what I need when I go through this, but I need to know what all of you need. So you're going to fill this out. It's going to keep your points. It's going to tally everything for you. And then when you're all done, we say, you know, save all of your certificates or whatnot on your desktop in a file, because you'll go here when you're ready. So you'll apply for the designation. You'll pay your, if you have a balance left, that's when you would do that. And then here is the actual place where you would upload all of your materials. So you're going to put your first name, your email address, the date that you're submitting, and then you'll say if you're a full member. The only way you're going to be able to get certified is if you're either a full member or an additional full member. The associate member, you will not qualify. And I always redirect people to our membership services for this area, because I still get tripped up on this sometimes as far as what makes someone a full and an additional full member according to the guidelines. And then here, you're going to say, you know, have you submitted your CMC admission application? This is important. The admission application is the $50 that you paid to get into the program. So usually it's a yes. And then here, if you needed that resource tool again, you could download it here. We have it here. And then this is just where you would, so if you have all your certificates saved on a desktop, we ask that you save like your experience and your education one-on-one, and then you would just attach your files here. So you attach file, and then you just drop your files in here. And when you're all done, you would just upload it, and we have a pretty quick turnaround time for people being able to get certified once they submit it. So I want to say, we do say, you know, there's a 5 to 6 weeks there because there's you know, basically one person doing it. But the beautiful part is, if I happen to get sick, God forbid, or something happens, with this new portal, all of us have access to it. So Iris has access to it, Dr. Rodriguez has access to it. The previous process, it was all going to one person's email, which is, as you know, it's hard to keep track of that if you're not the person that's actually managing that, right? Because everyone has their own system. So let me stop this for a second. Right, and so now I would love to open it up to some Q&A. Let me stop sharing really quick. And hey, I would love to hear from all of you. And if anybody, I don't know, Karen, are they allowed to unmute themselves, or is there something on here that prohibits that, or can anyone just talk?
Everyone is welcome to unmute themselves.
Okay, perfect. So now I would love to hear all of your questions about the process and how I can help, hopefully alleviate some anxiety or anything that might be happening. And Shannon is there without a mic, but we see you. How do you determine the points? Is there a sheet to convert over hours to points? Okay, so there is not a sheet per se to convert the hours to points, and this is a great question because this is often something that I'm going to share my screen again, okay, Karen? Because these are things that we end up, when I say we, I have to convert, right? When we're going through it. So if we were to go to the application designation, yep. Okay. So here, if you look at the points, we have so it's 1 point per 2 educational hours, right? So if it's an IIMC approved municipal clerks institute or academy. So this is where your work pretty much comes in. So if you're doing your academies or whatnot, you have certificates, all you have to do here is put the hours. And then if it's 1 point per 2, you would divide by 2. So if it's a 4-hour class, it'd be 2 points. Your bachelor's degree, we offer the 20 points for your bachelor's in public administration or related field. And then here, I don't want to read that to all you or your associates, right? It gets a little more, you know, completion of an IMC approved state, national, provincial educational course, which has been pre-approved by the education department. The course review, it's 1 point per 4 educational hours. So essentially, if something is not being provided by an institute or directly from IIMC's education department, then the points change. So instead of it being 1 point per 2 hours, it's 1 point per 4. And so those are kind of the two areas. So if something's being put on by your association, it's usually the point value is lower than if it's being put on by an institute. And then these are your IMC online courses. Again, your certificates will show how many points they're worth on them. And then your Athenian leadership, those are 3 points. And then you have an 18-point maximum. And then, of course, these study abroad programs, they vary from year to year. So, and then your conference academy sessions, those are 2 points each. So the only time that you have to really worry about hours is when it's something that is outside of either outside of your association or outside of an institute. I hope that helps to answer that question. So we have, how do you determine okay, I have met the education points, but concerned about the experience points. Any suggestions? Yes, Natalie. So the wonderful thing about education points is that they can trickle down to your experience points. So if you've gotten more education points or you've taken other courses, we can use that toward your experience points. What if we cannot remember if we previously did our admission application? So when you're saying admission application, that's to enroll into the program, correct? So you could always give us a call if you don't know if you submitted your admission application, and we could figure that out for you. That's the easiest way to do it right now. And then Sarah, what if we cannot remember no. Is it better to use my degree for certified or master clerk? I would use your degree for your master clerk certification, if you can. And let's see. Sorry, Spotty. March 2004 will be my second year as a member. Can I apply since the deadline is March 1st? I'm not sure what, Katie, are you able to talk to me? Katie Atkins? If not, all this is, okay. Possibly not, maybe not. Okay, Katie, so, I'm not sure what you mean by the deadline is March 31st. So, you can submit and be accruing points as long as you are a full or additional full member before you meet your 2 years. So during this interim, you could still be accruing points. How far back can we go to use experience points? Does it need to be within the past 5 to 10 years, or can it be further out? It could be further out. And here's one thing I do want to say. This is something that gets brought up often. So I know in the past to verify work experience, it would be like submit tax documents or whatnot. Please don't do that. I'm not collecting tax documents. And just to be quite honest, we're with Airtable, it's in no way, shape, or form a private space where I would trust that we can upload things with private information like that. It's a liability for sure. So one of the ways that I am working around that, and this is something that most educational institutions do, is if you could provide a CV or a resume detailing what you've done and your work experience, and also, if there's a number to call or an email, that would be great. I know that a lot of times people worked way back, and sometimes those places don't exist anymore, right? Maybe, and I had one person say, like, it literally burned down, like that organization doesn't exist anymore. I'm not here to police whether someone's telling the truth or not. If they're not telling the truth, really, that I am of the philosophy of, like, you're the one that's really going to hurt out on that, right? But I'm not going to, for the sake of the group, I'm not going to punish everybody because one person decides to be dishonest. Okay, if that makes sense. So what I'm saying is, if you provide a resume or some type of CV, something that shows it out and everything's there. If I have other questions or things seem, or I need to ask a question about something, that's when we would give you a call. The 31st deadline is for the NCCMC, maybe. I'm not sure. But I would say, and okay, let me scroll back up. Sorry, okay, let's see how far back. Hats, can experience points add substitute for education points? No. A lot of times the experience points will not, based on policy, right? Based on the education guidelines, we go up but not backward. So education can trickle into experience, but because it is a designation, let's say you've been, you have years and years and years and years and years experience, but you haven't taken any of the coursework or the classes that you need to, get the designation. You want to make sure it's as even as possible, if that makes sense. What if I submitted it as a okay, what if I submitted it as a certified? I want to change it to master. So Michelle, but you've been certified already? I'm wondering. So if you've already been certified with your CMC, we can't go back and change it. But if you haven't been certified yet and you decided like I actually want to save my transcript for the MMC, then yes, we can help you with that. I think when I joined IMC, I paid for a wooden plaque certificate, and it's my understanding that they're not doing these anymore. If we previously paid for it, will it be honored still or refunded? So we can't honor it because that business is no longer in business. But we will refund you whatever you paid for the plaque. So usually when I go in and I see that someone has already paid for a plaque, I'll let our finance department, I'll let Iris know that this needs to be refunded. And we will be, it's in the works on those, we're gonna create an email template that will let you know some really great places to get your plaque that are actually more affordable, which we've gotten that feedback from our board of directors. Did I miss any questions?
Dr. J,
Yes.
this is Lee. I was just wondering if a lot of members get confused with the state association certification process and mixing it with IMC. So could you kind of explain to them that that is a whole different process and it really kind of one on its own? It's not conjoined. It's not joined together like if you apply for the state and then it automatically goes over to IMC.
Yeah. So nothing automatically comes over to IMC. Someone else asked as well if when you complete Athenian dialogues, if the facilitator sends those certificates. No. So every member is responsible for saving their certificates, any documentation, and everything, because as it is, not every state has a state association that's certified that way. So really, when a state does that, that's awesome, and we could use that certification toward your CMC. But you want to keep all of your documentation. That way you can make sure that you're enrolled in our program and you're good to go and you're going through it. Because sadly, that has happened a couple of times where someone completed their state certification and then they're like, I thought I was a member at IMC and I thought I had my CMC through here. We just don't have any link or connection in that way. So although we are heavily involved, like with our municipal clerks, our system doesn't run like a government agency in that way where we're able to communicate with that many different locations. And then let's see, I know this was asked, but I missed the answer somehow. Sorry, I have college classes, but not a degree. Can we submit our transcript of completed classes for education points? Yes, you can. And I will say something that a lot of clerks are very savvy. So if they happen to take classes that are related to the field, right? You can put how many units, write them out and submit your transcript. And then you can put how many units it is, so you can divide that by hours. And one thing I will say is that a funny thing, and we need to change this, it says to submit official transcripts, right? The moment you open a transcript, it is no longer official from a college. So I know that says that, but it's okay. You can upload it to the thing. I know it's not going to be official, right? I know that as long as you've downloaded it from your university or whatnot, you can upload that to the portal, is what we call it, so that we can review it. So I know that kind of gets a lot of people too, because they think they have to mail it in, or ideally, if it was official, yes, you would need to mail it in because it's closed and certified, but we understand they need to open it up. Does IIMC have a submission deadline for the year, or do we just apply whenever we have hit our membership application point requirements? So there is no, it's rolling. So that's another reason why it just keeps going, right? So it's a rolling admission process. So there's no deadline to apply. You just have that 2-year requirement to meet. So I even have people in my queue that they've met all their points. They already say CMC on our web base. They just haven't been certified yet till they meet their 2-year, right? And once they submit everything and they paid everything, even though they haven't met their 2-year, they can start working on their MMC, right? So I always tell everyone, try to get in it as quickly as you can so you're not wasting any time. because we know that time is precious and valuable, and we want you to be able to do this as quick as possible. Hope I didn't miss anything. Let's see. Can you duplicate the School of Government Clerk's course of education and experience in 120 hours? I'm not sure what that means. Lee, do you are you familiar with the School of Government Clerk's course for education?
No, Katie, can
yeah.
you elaborate? Yeah.
That's in North Carolina, and that's who we use for our Clerks Institute. And usually once you graduate, those education hours you can apply those towards your CMC.
Yeah, I would say so. And I mean,
Can you hear me?
I can. Hi, Katie.
Okay, I've been struggling with this. So basically what I'm asking is the course is 120 hours, so it's enough for the education, but I was looking at your spreadsheet and I think it's number 10 under experience, completion of an IIMC approved state education course. I'm wondering if I can also use that 120 hours duplicated under item 10 as well.
So what?
It can only be used once, right, Jay?
So what could happen? So in theory, you need 120 hours is 60 points, right? So you would use that toward that top portion. And then, you know, the 50 points that are required is 100 hours. So there's no double dipping, unfortunately. I know it would be ideal, but yeah, so you'd use it for the top, but not the bottom.
Okay, I got you. Thank you. And then on the college courses, what I was trying to ask earlier, so is there somewhere that I can see out of the college courses I have taken which ones would actually apply for the clerk role? Because I have taken so many, I'm not sure which ones you're going to say yes or which ones you're going to say no.
Okay, I want everyone to hear this because Jay's a sucker for education and also access and equity and inclusion. Might not have a job after this, we'll see. Unless it's something completely out of line, like paint by number, underwater basket weaving, something. In other words, if you can justify how you use this in your work, I'm gonna give you credit for it, right? For that class or course. Because there's some people that take Spanish and they use Spanish in their work, right? Like this is something that helped them maybe get a job or, you know, a promotion or whatnot. So as kind of rigid as our application is, we know that people are diverse, and there's many different roles within each municipality. So I would suggest, I mean, you could always email me and I'll let you know if of course will or won't, but it's very rare that I would say, oh yeah, there's no way you're using that course in your job role, right? Even I use graphic design. I never thought I would be graphic designing in this role that I'm in, but I use it, right? Like all the time. So I hope that makes sense.
It does. Thank you. And then as far as so I am in North Carolina and I have a spring regional that is done by hours, and I may have missed how do we calculate, like the one was 7.5 hours. So how would I calculate that to points?
So so your regional meeting, so number 9 on our application, it's 1 point per 4 verifiable education. So you would divide the 7 by 4 to get the point.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course, you're welcome. And as you can see, I still need to go back and reference because it gets a little confusing for me with how it's designated on how many points per hours and whatnot is allotted.
Okay, Dr. J, we have other, of course, certification courses with like AMRO, which is dealing with you got accounting, organizations, you got some legal stuff, all kind of stuff out there. So those count towards your certification process as well. If you could use some of those classes from like the election center, which I attend sometimes, or those also be applicable towards your CMC for
Yes.
state associations and also national. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. The only time that we don't allow something if it's like, what's a good example? If they're basically selling a product. So if it's something that where they're trying to get you to buy something for your organization or your municipality, like we're not gonna honor that. But if it's an actual course that you're taking that's gonna, you know, contribute to your daily duties and whatnot, then yeah, absolutely. We do have Natalie ask, just to make sure I'm understanding correctly, even though clerk certification has been completed, I can't apply until I have 2 full years of membership, correct? So you can still apply, and you'll be in the process, right? So as long as you go through membership and they say, oh yes, you're a clerk, right, performing 4 of the 8 core duties, they'll tell you whether you're an associate member or, a full or additional full member. And so then you can enroll in the program, right? So that's what that admission application is, the first one. And you pay $50 and that's what says, okay, you're starting now. So I would say like, just submit it now so your clock starts ticking toward the 2 years. And let's say you finish, and you haven't met your 2 years yet, you can, as long as you've paid and you're in good standing, you can already start working towards your MMC within that time. So I always suggest, don't wait till you've been a member for 2 years, try to get in there as soon as possible. Right.
I believe that concludes our meeting chat, the questions in meeting chat. Does anyone have additional questions?
I have an additional question. How can I help you? So one thing that I want you all to leave with today is knowing that I am your ally and an advocate for all of you. So I've been an adult learner for a very long time, and I know that all of you, at whatever capacity, juggle many, many things during a day, and that's not even including home life and whatnot. So I want to know what, aside from status updates, because that's not coming back. How can I help you? And what can we do to make this process less painful for those who feel that it is hard and painful?
I have a question if it's all right.
Absolutely.
I may have missed it because I had to take a call, but is a capstone project required for certain CMC?
No. No, there's no capstone requirement at all. And I mean, theoretically, you're in the capstone already, right? Because this is your job, you're doing it. This is like action oriented. You're already in the process. So really, we're just looking at the work that you're doing and that you're completing, and that, the certification, there's certificates. So really, my job is to help verify and then connect you if you're having trouble finding certain, classes, or if you don't have a institute or something like that, then, that's where I would come in and try to help you find the classes.
Well, I have that. I completed a MCTI. I'm in South Carolina. I just wanted to make sure that before I applied for my CMC, that a capstone from the MCTI was not required.
It is not required from us.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome. And I don't know if it would be helpful, but I'm more than happy to share the one link I posted in my PowerPoint, because that document pretty much has everything you need, as far as like the admission process all the way to when you're ready to submit. So if that will be helpful, I can add it into the chat if you'd like.
The video of this meeting will also be available via YouTube, and if you like, I can include a link to your presentation, if that is helpful, and Dr. J, if you would permit that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Tory, Lee, do you have any questions for me?
No, Dr. J, I don't have anything. Excellent presentation. Everyone has questions they submitted, and so we got to get those out of the way ahead of time. And if you have some other questions, you can email Tori or I, and we'll get them to Dr. J if you can't answer them, of course. But a great job. I'm looking forward to hearing the input from some of the other members when the meeting is over as far as the emails are concerned. So you got anything, Ms. Frink, over there?
No, I'm good.
Okay, we do have Brittany. She asked, what is the best way to switch from associate to additional full member? If your due renewal hasn't come yet. So definitely want to get in touch with either Janice Stout or Tammy Story, because I will send you all the wrong directions in which way, because I'll think, there you go, thank you, Karen. Because I'll say like, yeah, you're doing all of these, send your HR work. I'm like, yeah, you're a clerk, and they're like, nope. I've already done that before, so I'm learning my lesson. So make sure to just reach out. Karen Lee put it in there to Janice, and usually what you'll ask for is like a letter from your HR stating your core duties or whatnot, and then they can make that change for you.
And to all members in Region 3, of course, we will send the step-by-step process out by email. We'll try to do that and get them to your state associations, and that's really helpful. It's been helpful to me in the past before I even submitted my information, but it's very easy, step-by-step process. But again, of course, you have questions about particular things that you're dealing with. But again, that video and those steps are online, and you can go through the process at IMC, or again, we will submit it so you can see it in the Region Facebook page, and also try to do it through your email listserv.
And outside of this, we are doing monthly. So I'm doing a CMC and MMC presentation once a month. It's like Q&A. I intended for it to be more like a cohort model, so people can kind of have a group where they support each other. But the first one that went out, we had over 100 people sign up. So I'm like, okay, we got to give what the people want. Chris, my director, tried to say they want Jay. I was like, nope, they want answers. So people look out for that. So, you know, if you do have questions as you go on and you're like, I just want to hop on this call, a lot of times it's good to be able to listen in. Someone else might ask the question that you have, and then it'll get answered that way. But those will come out in our e-briefings. Karen's been so awesome helping me put all that together, so that at least we have something that's ongoing where I can talk and connect with our clerks, but also learn from all of you, because really when we're thinking about processes and how we change things and update them, all of you need to be involved, right? Because this is your organization. So I want to make sure that your voices are heard and that I'm able to help implement your ideas. So, you know, if we don't have any more questions before I get taken out of here, I want to say thank you so much for giving me the time to be here with everyone and to just share a little bit about myself, but also how to get you all certified. I know some of you are waiting for promotions and things like that, and I'm like, we need to make it happen. So I just want to thank you all for, you know, trusting me with your time today and for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, everybody have a great day.